Hey guys, how's it going? Solo back with another daily stock market video. Let's take a look at a ticker today that we haven't talked about for probably a few months now on the channel, to be honest with you, and that's AMD. Longtime viewers know I was trading AMD back and forth, wheeling it probably close to a year ago now before this huge run up until the 80s and 90s, but looks like it's coming back down in price. It might be a little bit more enticing if you're long on this stock or if you want to be a long-term holder. The reason I kind of jumped away from AMD was because the premiums haven't been as juicy as they once were. I've been finding juicier premiums with other tickers, but I personally like the company as a company. I like their products. I think they're a good play long-term. Again, that's just my opinion. I don't have any shares or any options, really any positions open on AMD right now. But let's take a look at it and see what it's doing recently, do some TA, see what the big money investors are doing with the option flow data. Let's get right into it. So just as a quick recap, here's how we closed the trading week last week on Friday. We're in the midst of a pretty significant sell-off here. Big tech, though, had a nice green rally to end the day Friday, but the overall market still looks like it's pretty red. Let's take a look at AMD. So AMD on Friday actually had a green day. Like I said, if we look back at the heat map here, a lot of the big tech stocks were green. Semis were really green, which is what the sector AMD is a part of. Look at this, AMD up over 2.5%. After hours, pretty much flat, down about 0.25%. But on the week, though, you're still red on AMD. Look at this big dive that we took from February 22nd to 23rd. We're down still 4.4% on the week. On the month, not looking great either, down over 5.5%. On the past 3 months, also down a little over 4%. So I said this in my last video too, the silver lining here is if you like the company, if you like the stock, it could be on sale for you. And it looks like it's been on sale or going on sale for the past 3 months. On the year though, you're still looking good, still up 85% on the year. But I've shown you some other yearly graphs in my prior videos, and some of those tickers are up 100, 200% plus. So AMD, it's one of those long-term companies, maybe buy and hold in my opinion, not one of these short-term volatile companies. That's probably why it's not up as much as some of the other tickers. That's also probably why the options premiums haven't been as juicy on AMD as they are on some of the other more volatile stickers. Remember, basically the more volatile a stock is, the more crazy it is, the juicier its premiums are going to be. You're basically getting high reward because you're going to take high risk. Let's take a look at a news article I saw. So this one is a kind of a global news article. This one is out of Benzinga. Came out actually on Thursday. And this is about the government administration. They're actually seeking $37 billion in congressional funding because they need to counter this semiconductor shortage. And that's really, if you look at some of these tickers like AMD, Micron, even Ford and General Motors, because pretty much everything these days uses some form of a semiconductor or chip, Intel, Qualcomm, they've all been beaten down because apparently there's just a supply problem, right? So actually on Wednesday, last Wednesday, President Biden signed an executive order to address the crisis that was perpetuated obviously by this pandemic. He's looking at a solution and looking to increase production capacity. And what he wants to do is a 100-day review of supply chains for 4 critical products, including semiconductor chips, large capacity batteries for electric vehicles, rare earth metals, and pharmaceuticals. So a lot of sectors here, right? Not just the semiconductor or the chip sector, but we're talking about cars here, right? EV vehicles as well, rare earth minerals. They're using a lot of electronic devices here. And of course, this is what we already know. A supply crisis has plagued the United States since the pandemic, which reduced the availability of masks, gloves, and other personal protective equipment, impacting frontline workers. And take a look at this. The U.S. semiconductor companies, they account for almost half, 47% of worldwide chip sales, but account for only 12% of the production. That's pretty interesting, actually. But take a look at another article I found. So this one is on the TA, the technical analysis about AMD. This one was interesting. It goes really in depth. We'll do our own TA in just a minute. And like I said, like we always do, we'll close the video looking at the option flow data for AMD on Friday to see what the big money, the institutions were doing with AMD. But this article actually came out also on Thursday, February 25th. And it's about the Mad Money segment with Jimmy Cramer, Jimmy Chill, if you want to call him that, where a buyer called in and asked him about AMD stock. And his response was, you just need to buy the stock. Now, personally, I'm always skeptical whenever Jimmy Chill says to buy something. but let's do our own due diligence and our own research. This article was written by somebody named Bruce Kamich, and he went deep into the TA on AMD. And one interesting thing that I saw, and I've never heard of this indicator, but he's talking about the OBV, the on balance volume line, and he's saying it's made an irregular decline since early August. And apparently that tells us that traders of AMD have been on and off more aggressive sellers. And then the MACD is also below the zero line in sell territory. So it looks like just based off these two indicators, the TA is telling us that there's a lot of sellers in the market right now than buyers. So obviously that's a bearish sign, but like I said, silver lining, if this is a stock that you want to hold for the next 5, 10, 20, 30 plus years, might be coming on sale, might be going on even a bigger sale if you wait even longer. But we know, and I'll show you in a second, that AMD has dipped below the 50-day moving average, which of course is also not a good sign. But I mean, take a look at this TA. This guy goes really in depth. I mean, he's even playing tic-tac-toe with AMD charting, which is crazy. I have no idea what this technical analysis is, but here's what I want to see. The bottom line strategy, according to this article, says while AMD may rally to new heights later in 2021, it is the near-term price action that troubles me. I need to see signs of more aggressive buying and stronger indicators before recommending purchases. So let's see if we agree with that, or at least let's see if I agree with that. If we go to the TradingView chart here on AMD, you can see we have a lot of lines of support and resistance that I've drawn for, like I said, the past year. I also have these light blue lines, which are basically gaps that may or may not get filled. But what I found interesting was I haven't looked at this chart for months now. And if we actually look back on February 23rd, intraday, we pretty much bottomed out right at this area of support that I drew a long time ago, around $79. And then also back on February 24th, and actually just last trading day on February 26th, we basically bottomed out at another support level that I drew many moons ago at $83. Now, I think I do want to add one more area of support that I noticed was because I looked at this chart, or this candle, on Thursday, February 25th, and right here, if I draw another area of support, I'm going to change this to yellow to be in line with the other TA. The one thing I noticed was if I go back in time, right, this is this line right here. It looks like we kind of topped out a few candles there back in November, topped out a few candles back in October, even back in September. And so I think that actually might be another area of support that I just missed before. So right now, looks like on Friday, we kind of bottomed out intraday at $83. We did close above that at $84.50 or so. But the next lower area of support, if my TA is accurate, is going to be at about $82. Then it looks like every dollar after that. So 83, I have an 82 line. I have one pretty much at about $81, one at about $79, another one at $78. So that's going to be interesting. Now, the one thing that does catch my eye is that I have these two blue lines here from about $77 to roughly $79. So there's a $2 wide gap there that may need to get filled. This gap was all the way back from November 3rd to 4th. We tried to fill it, or we kind of partially filled it back on November 10th, but it never got completely filled all the way down to like $76, $77. So I'm wondering, with all this aggressive selling that's going on, are we going to eventually get all the way down to kind of the mid to high 70s and fill this gap? I think it's possible if there is still all that aggressive selling. This orange line is the 21, the pink line is the 50-day moving averages, so we are trading both below that. In fact, the 21-day crossed below the 50-day kind of back on February 1st, so that's a bearish sign as well. Now, the RSI is not really oversold, but it is trending more towards the oversold side. I don't know, guys. I am really bearish based on the articles that I'm reading, obviously the semiconductor shortage news, and just the TA that, based on my TA, and also that article that I just showed you, seems like things are on not a good note for AMD. But like I said, I wanted to drop even further, to be honest with you, because I want AMD, honestly, back like down to these levels, around 40, 50, 60 bucks, so I can scoop up shares on the cheap. I don't think it's going to get that far, to be honest with you, but a guy can dream, right? Let me know if you own AMD. Let me know if you're trading options on AMD, if you agree or disagree in the comments below. Let's end the video looking at the option flow data to see what the big money investors were doing. So here's Sweepcast, one of the option flow programs I'm using, and overall on Friday, 25 calls came in, 23 puts, but the overall sentiment, according to this program, was bullish on AMD. The biggest money order was for $1 million. It was a $80 strike put option actually that came in the afternoon, which is interesting. But according to this program, this is a bullish play because they were bought at the bid price. So that's going to be interesting to see. Maybe that's a hedge. Who knows? A lot of the other options were all very far or very much lower than $1 million. The next highest one was for $345,000. That was also another put. A few calls after that. So I don't think this really helps us that much. I really think it's the news right now and the technical analysis that I'm seeing that tells me that I'm bearish on AMD, at least in the short term, despite what this option flow data says. Let me know if you agree or disagree. As always, make sure you join the Discord server if you're not in there already. Add me on StockTwits, Twitter, Instagram, and Reddit. Most importantly, let's have another green week, and I'll see you on the moon.